So I just got back from seeing James Gunn's Superman, and I didn't think I was really going to get into a review of the entire film. I think if you're curious, you've probably seen somebody else's video that's going to be 100 times better and watch their reviews prior to seeing this video. So I just want to give my basic thoughts on the film. Let me just cut through the story. We all know the story. The story is it's been 3 years since Superman has made himself known to the world. 300 years in this universe, metahumans have existed. 3 months ago, him and Lois Lane started dating. I think it was also 3 months ago or 3 weeks ago, he went to this international conflict between these two countries, and he stopped it from happening without anyone's authority. On his own volition, he went and he did this, and it caused an incident. And now there's 3 minutes ago, the Hammer of Baravia came to Metropolis looking for Superman and beat him down so bad that Superman has, for the first time ever, has been injured. And that's how the movie opens up, with him slamming down into the Antarctic and Crypto taking him to the Fortress of Solitude. Okay. And now that's what Superman's dealing with, is that people necessarily aren't really liking him because of Lex Luthor. And he's behind the scenes masterminding all this, because Lex's big goal, again, is real estate. He wants to take this Baravia and split it in half, where it will become, he'll be king of one section and the rest will be Bavaria, but they also have to take over this other country. So Lex Luthor's behind everything. Of course he is. Nonetheless, the story, the first hour of the film, I wasn't very interested in it. It was okay. It wasn't terrible, but there were things that were happening that was very disrespectful to Superman, in my opinion. Not only just Superman as Superman, but also like his story. Like they made, let's go. This is what my biggest gripes with the film were. They made the Kents really, really like ridiculous. I mean, have they ever gone to Kansas? Has James Gunn ever been to Kansas? I've gone there when I did paranormal investigating. People in Kansas don't speak like that. Some do, not all of them. They're not like that. Not that heavy accent, you know. It's middle America. It's not really like, but they made it terrible, terrible. The mother was the worst. She was god awful. She was really, really bad. I mean, not just the I'm not saying the actress, just the way she's what they gave her to work with. It was just horrible and ridiculous. And then we get to the other part that bothers me a lot. I almost walked out of the theater, and it was that Jor-El and, you know, Kal-El's mom, Lara, whatever, they're speaking. They have this message that they sent with Superman when he arrived at Earth, and the first half is the only thing that works, that they can hear. And Superman's robots translated it, and he uses that. He calms him down and makes him feel good. And supposedly this is what motivated him to become Superman, is what they said. And it's that it says, you know, go out there, you know, you help these people, or whatever the hell they said. We're saying, you know, be Superman, be the hero you could be. But the other half is missing until Lex and the Engineer and Ultraman break into the Fortress of Solitude, kill all the robots almost, kidnap Crypto, and then hack the computers. Somehow she's able to do this. Alien software or alien technology she can hack into and solve it, and finishes. She fixes it. The second half, and the second half is all of Jor-El and Lara telling Kal-El, kill all the humans, kill them, conquer them. You'll be the king of Earth. You can take as many harems as you want. Just do it. They're weak people. They're a weak race of humans. You can do this. So it makes, again, this is the problem I had with the Batman too, which I didn't like. It's like, why are they doing this with these characters? Why did every single character has daddy issues? Like, that's the only way they know how to write these characters. And Superman now is going to be a piece of crap. Like, his parents were pieces of crap. They just wanted to save him because they're selfish. They have a problem with the family structure, the family unit. It seems like, yeah, let's just put this in there. Superman's parents weren't good, but despite that, he is good. His adopted parents are country bumpkins. They're idiots. But despite that, he's good because maybe he learned it somewhere else, like in college or something. But Superman got his moral values from what? A tape of his parents from Krypton telling him he could be good and do good things. Not from the values that was instilled by his Earth parents, that's the whole essence of Superman to me. With that, and then there's no taking that back. I thought they were gonna, you know, work that around, that Luthor actually manipulated the audio and it's not actually real. No. And 2 minutes after that was done, No. That's real. That's true. It's 100% true. They can't be faked. That's it. Everybody says, nope, this 100% true. If those experts said it's true. They're not going to do that. Mr. Terrific says that. So it just terrible. Just awful. I was like, oh my God, this is so disrespectful. I was watching it with my uncle, who, when the mom was talking, Ma Ken, he was just like, oh my God, under his breath. I'm like, what? He's like, I can't believe this. Then the part with the same thing happened with the part where the Jor-El's saying these things, and we found out that that's what they were really saying, is to go conquer Earth. It was just like, what happened to, the noble parents that were trying to warn Krypton of this destruction and wanting to, trying to save their sons, doing this to save his son because nobody. What happened to Pa Kent and Ma Kent, Kevin Costner's? It just was just frustrating. My uncle said the same thing. He's just like, I didn't really like that. But again, like I will say, after that, the film somehow, I think it's when Krypto gets rescued, when Superman rescues Krypto. Because he gets arrested. He turns himself in after this because Luthor see, that's another thing. If Luthor wanted to get Superman into a predicament with this international crisis so then he could benefit from it, but he just wants Superman arrested and out of the picture so this way he can have his team of robot men or people in armor, I forgot what they're called, watch something, Skywatch or watch whatever, and they were going to take over protection for Earth, or America at least, and Luthor's trying to pitch this to the government, and they're like, no, we trust Superman, and then it's just like, okay, all right. Why wouldn't Luthor manipulate the footage? Why didn't he do that? Why have it be actually real? Like that's what his parents really did say. Instead of having Luthor manipulate it because he needed something to get Superman out of the way. Because that's what he wanted. He wanted Superman out of the way. Of course, he has his own reasons. Luthor's always had his own reasons. I love the All-Star Superman run where, Luthor says why. Because Superman has made humanity no longer aspire to be greater because Superman's the greatest being out there. And that bothers, Lex Luthor, because Lex Luthor's always pushing himself mentally and physically and all these things. So, whatever. He was the best part, actually. I think Nicholas Hoult was the best part of the movie. That's another thing I will get into. So anyway, the movie gets good after Krypto. When Krypto's rescued, when Superman breaks out and he rescues Krypto, the movie gets better, and it gets better, but it's more like, it gets better because it's like, James Gunn's good at this. It's like, look at this. It's almost like what happened in Guardians 2 with the whole ego, and then they're going underground. It's kind of like is similar in regards to that aspect, and then everything's going to be destroyed. It's James Gunn is very good at that, very, very good at the ticking time bomb element in his action films. One thing after another, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. The Superman does get beat up for a majority of the film, but it's fun. It's fun to watch, and anyway, the movie gets good after that point. After that point, I enjoyed the film. Superman had a speech at the end of the film that I liked too. The very end I didn't like, when we see Supergirl show up and we get this exposition where Superman tells us why she's drunk and why she's acting like this, because she's drunk because she travels to a planet with a red sun so she could get drunk. Anyway, I was like, okay, and why wouldn't the robots know that since they know? Anyway, whatever. The good stuff. There's a lot of good in it, though. Besides that, it gets good in the second half, and the film's not terrible, and it's not political, as people want to say. David Cornsweet is good as Superman. There are very good moments. Yes, he cries and bitches and whines a lot in the beginning, but there are moments that he's genuinely really Superman, and you can see it. It's like cracking. It's almost there. He's almost there. He does a pretty good job where he saves people, and he asks them, how are you doing? Are you guys okay? He does these things. He does one scene with a dog where the kaiju jumps down and he grabs from killing a dog, and then there's a whole scene with that dog that's cute. And Krypto's not in it that much, and the scenes with Krypto in the beginning was sucked. I didn't like him in the beginning, but then, like I said, once he got rescued and then later when he is brought into it, I liked him. And he didn't save the day. I heard somebody say, oh, Krypto's the one that saved the day. No, Superman thought of it and realized and was like, called for help, and Crypto comes to help, and then Superman fights Ultraman, which is basically him, which I don't know why they went with Ultraman. Why wouldn't they just say Bizarro? But whatever. So he is Superman. There are moments, there are really good moments. He looks like Superman. I think he does a fine job. I think a lot of problems I have more so is with James Gunn's directing and writing than with the film. Like, I don't like the way he directs action sequence where the camera just spins around all the time. You want to talk about Zack Snyder and his slow-mo? Well, James Gunn is always 360 around, and all the action is happening while people are walking. There's somebody walking in the middle of the scene, and other people are fighting, and all these things are happening while that person's walking. It happens all the time. Or Superman's flying, and we do a 360 around him and in the front end. I didn't like that view. When he's fighting there's scenes where he's fighting and flying, and he's far away, and I thought that was badass. Or when he fights all the raptors, and it's called Planet Watch. That's what he wants. Luthor wants. But no, really, he wants Superman. He wants to get rid of Superman. He hates him. He's been setting this up this whole time. But anyway, he's great as Superman. Lois Lane. Oh, finally a Lois I like. Because guess what? I didn't really like Margot Kidder that much. I was like, why is he attracted to her? This one, there's a scene too when she comes home and he's making her breakfast for dinner. She walks into the kitchen and she does this thing with her lip. And I was like, she's trying to get a facial, like she's mimicking Margot Kidder. I could see Margot Kidder in her lips. She did something, and I was like, I could see she's doing something with her mouth and her lips, and she's getting that little bit, that mouth of Margot Kidder. I don't know how. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's what I saw, and I was like, wow. I think she's great. Jimmy Olsen is fantastic. I love Jimmy Olsen in this. I love how all these girls love Jimmy. He's a player, but he's not a cocky player. He's just like whatever. But again, things are very predictable, very predictable. Although there was one scene where we see a new bad guy. We thought he wasn't that bad. He was just complaining about Superman. And he walks through into this pocket dimension. I don't know if I said alternate dimension or dark dimension. This pocket dimension where he walks through there and he sees Lex there. And I thought he was going to turn to Metamorpho. I thought it was going to be Metamorpho, but it's not. It's actually a bad. So. But the reveal was he was bad. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But then there's something else later on that's a reveal, and I was like, duh. It's like a few things. I was like, no shit. Mr. Terrific, I thought he was terrific. Although I thought his accent was weird. I was like, or the way he was speaking. I don't know if Mr. Terrific is supposed to speak like that. Whatever. But I thought he was great in the film. All right. Hawk Girl, didn't mind her. I actually do like that. She's like, I'm not like Superman at one point. And I do like her. Although she sounded like Aquafina at times. Like me and my uncle was like, is that Aquafina? And I took out my phone. I had to look it up. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, I know it's not. It was a Spanish girl who was cast. It was like, why does she sound like Aquafina? But I was like, what the fuck? But I thought she was okay. I like Hawk Girl in the animated series. So I would like to see if they make a movie with just her, or if she's going to be in the Supergirl film. I'd like to see that. Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. I think Nathan Fillion is too old to be Guy Gardner, but he's okay in it as Guy Gardner. The Justice Gang. This is another thing. The Hall of Justice is in this film. That's great. I thought that was awesome. And it looks like the Hall of Justice. And when they go inside, they're the Justice Gang. And it's just Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, and Hawk Girl. And I'm looking at, I don't know if this is gonna be Justice League International or what, but I'm like, that's one problem I have. I'm like, Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and the Flash and Hal Jordan, they create the Justice League, right? Or at least the main three, the Trinity, right? Let's just say Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. They formed the Justice League. Why is there another group calling themselves the Justice Gang before Superman has established himself as this character that people respect? Because that's one thing that's another negative. Nobody respects him in this movie. Not one person. I know he's just been 3 years into this, but he should demand some kind of respect. Perry White, I like Bunk, the actor. I like him. Well, he played Bunk on The Wire. I like him as an actor. I think he's a very good actor. I don't think they gave him anything here. Who else is there in this? The guy from SNL, he plays Steve Lombard, who's played by a good actor in Man of Steel that we didn't even know he was Lombard really until I think there's one line at the end where Perry White by Lawrence Fishburne goes, Lombard, well, meet the new guy. This is Kent or whatever. So it's played by this guy. It's all right. He's just barely in it. I bet you he had more stuff because the movie was longer. Supposedly they cut it, so I bet you he had more stuff in there. But all in all, with all the negatives, it wasn't a terrible film. It was a good movie. And as was it, I'm trying to contemplate, like, it was a better Superman. Okay, I will say this. It was better than Man of Steel, although a lot of destruction happens in this too, but almost not as bad as, nowhere near as bad as Man of Steel. Man of Steel, Kansas got destroyed, and then Metropolis was destroyed by Superman and Zod. They destroyed mostly everything in Metropolis and in Kansas. Superman was terrible in that movie. That's the biggest problem with that film. Besides that, it's got a lot of key moments in there where Superman is Superman in a way, where lines are said that represent Superman's moral values, like, or like what his parents meant to him, or like the Superman goes crazy when what was Zod didn't grab his mother, but somebody grabbed his mom, the girl, Ursula, it's not her, but whatever, and he grabs Zod, he flies in, gets Zod, starts punching him, says, "Don't you ever touch my mother," but then destroys all these things. But that moment, or when Clark Kent's saying, "Can I just be your son?" And he goes, "You are my son." That's a loving moment between. And then they do kind of have a moment between, Clark and Jonathan Kent that kind of works, kind of, heals a little bit, but they kind of made him real stupid. But I don't know. They go, "Oh, they're so stupid. They had to ask Lois if their son was going to be okay." They don't know what happened to Superman, to Clark. So of course they're going to ask Lois, "Is he going to be okay?" Because they would know. They just flew in on a spaceship. I think that they would be like, "Oh, is he going to be okay?" Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that. But they made them like real fucking hillbillies. So, but yeah, weren't totally stupid, but they were just hillbillies. And there was somebody else complained that Ma Kent was on the phone. She didn't know how to use a phone. They're playing it up like she's an older person, like my mother or my grandmother. They don't know what the hell they're doing. So I get it. Let it go. That didn't bother me. It was just how terribly hillbilly they were or whatever. But they do make up for it at the end when the robots say, "Do you want us to play the voices of your parents?" And Clark says yes. And then they're playing the footage of Clark when he was a kid with his ma and his pa. And I was like, "Oh, that's good. That's good." But, it's a good movie. At the end of the day, it's not terrible. It's better than Man of Steel. It is better than Man of Steel. I don't like I don't like James Gunn that much as a director, but he did a decent enough job. There are things he missed, truly missed. Making Jor-El and making Superman's biological parents bad people is awful. Making his mother and father in America awful is just stupid. He doesn't say truth, justice, in the American way in this at all. So there's nothing like that. But he is Superman. There are moments where he really shines as Superman. And it's mostly like every time when he rescues somebody and he throws them down and he genuinely says, "Are you okay, miss?" Like that's Superman. And they did a stupid scene where he saved a squirrel. It was really the scene with the kaiju where they kill the kaiju, where Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, and Hawkgirl decide to kill the kaiju. And Superman's like, "Isn't there a better way to do this? Like I could have taken him somewhere else, or maybe we could have euthanized him more peacefully." That's Superman. Superman is that Boy Scout. Superman does care about everything. Superman has a fucking Star Eater, like this monster creature in the Fortress of Solitude that eats stars. It's a baby though, because he didn't want to get rid of it and he didn't want to kill it. So Superman is that type of person. He saves a squirrel. Yeah, Superman does that. Those are things Superman did. So yeah, I will give this credit. This is better than Superman Returns. It's better than Man of Steel. It's better than Superman 4. It's better than Superman 3. So Superman 1, 2, and this. I just think there's certain things they could have done better, but it wasn't terrible. The film kind of looks cheap in a way because it's like they didn't spend money on like certain things. Like the pocket dimension only looks interesting when shit's about to go down, and it's like boring. Like, the only places that look great is the Daily Planet and Lex Luthor's office, I guess. Even that kind of looked ridiculous. That was kind of stupid too. They had all these people in there that were like gamers, because he'd be like A1, 7, F5, all these moves he was telling the stupid Ultraman to do, which I don't know why they didn't call him Bizarro. Because they said he was stupid. He was so dumb that like, he looked like Henry Cavill at one moment. When he took off his mask, he had long hair. I was like, holy, but then it's just David Cornsweet as whatever. It was pretty good. I will say the movie was pretty good. I enjoyed it. If I was gonna rate it, I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. There's some things I dislike, but overall it's good, and I do think people should check it out. It's worth it. Anyway, let me know what you thought about Superman in the comment section down below. I will talk to you guys next time. Peace.